Welcome to the Piece by Piece Autism Podcast with your hosts, Angie and Christy. They've worked 25 years to help Alec get the most out of life. Let them tell you how they're doing it.
Hello, and welcome back to Piece by Piece Autism Podcast. We're glad that you are joining us today as we get to discuss in depth what is ABA. We hear that acronym all the time and want to give a little bit of explanation and examples as to how this has impacted Alec's life for the better. So, what is ABA? ABA is an acronym for Applied Behavioral Analysis, and it is the most research-based, data-driven, scientific proven method that makes positive changes in people's lives. And this is not unique to individuals with autism. This works well with spouses, with roommates, with coworkers, with my children of all ages. And as I was in my graduate program, we looked into even other careers. And I have actually two brothers who are in law enforcement. So I was interested in and did my paper on how applied behavioral analysis and work as a BCBA is applicable to those in criminal justice and how that kind of works in that field. But
nice.
We see it often in animal training and all sorts of different applications. So it really is for all individuals, but the success and the wonderful experiences that we have had with ABA as it pertains to Alec, who is 27 and living his best life because of the foundation in ABA, is really what we want to share with you today.
Right. We've employed BCBA since Alec was 2.5. He was diagnosed at 2 with severe autism, and we had our first BCBA come in at 2.5. Our BCBA was very skilled at managing behavior and helping us teach Alec with all sorts of skills. And one of the things that I found about BCBAs and people in the applied behavior analysis field is that they will tell you they can do almost anything. So there's several deficits for a person who has severe autism. So having a BCBA come in and say, we can cover the OT part of it, deficits, we can cover the physical therapy, we can cover the speech therapy. You don't really need any of those. I would be wary of that because they really can't do it all. But it is very important that you have everyone on the same page and that everyone has a behavioral approach. The reason for that is you can really undermine what the ABA program is doing in your home program, because if you've got an occupational therapist who's reinforcing whining whenever your child is in a session with that professional, then you could end up with an increase of whining that then everyone else has to deal with, including your child. So your child is getting mixed signals. And the more everyone is on the same page, the less that is going to be an issue. So especially when you've got a fragile learner, you want to have everybody using applied behavior analysis principles so that, we don't get confused so much. I'm going to tell you my favorite book that I was told to read whenever I went out to California to train with Dr. Partington, who's a brilliant autism specialist, was called Don't Shoot the Dog, The New Art of Teaching and Training. The book is written by Karen Pryor, Pryor, and it is available, I noticed, on Amazon. It's got a new cover now, but it is still in print, and it's a fabulous book. And it talks about all the different ways that you can use applied behavior analysis, including like how to get your cat not to get on the countertop or how to get your roommate to pick up their laundry.
Oh, good one.
So it's just like, or how to get a raise. I mean, even so it's just like covers a lot of different how to improve your golf game. So it's just great. Oh, and how to improve your memory. I keep
Oh,
wanting to read about that, but I keep forgetting to read it. So,
isn't that ironic?
get it, Andy? Get it? Yeah. I do read it, but then I forget what it says. And I don't know. Anyway, one of my favorite parts of the book it's right in the foreword, and it's talking about the principles of training with reinforcement, which is a huge part of applied behavior analysis.
Yes.
And she says in here, usually we're using them, meaning principles of training with reinforcement, inappropriately. We threaten, we argue, we coerce, we deprive, we pounce on others when things go wrong, and pass up the chance to praise them when things go right. And that is one of the hardest parts, I think, to get used to, is
Yeah.
to get your emphasis more on the positive behavior and really putting a spotlight on it and highlighting that rather than focusing just on stop that, don't do that. No, all of that has got to be put to the back burner, and it's got to be good sitting. Oh, I love it when your arms are quiet like that, or whatever the positive behavior.
Mm-hmm.
One of the examples that I've also heard people in the ABA world say is, wouldn't it be nice if police law enforcement would use these principles? But wouldn't we all be freaked out? Because we're used to, we look in our rearview mirror, how we see the lights, wow, 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 wow.
And our heart
And what do
rate
we
spikes.
think? We have a little bit of panic. Our heart rate spikes. We're going, crap, do I have my license? Do I have my registration? So we pull over. The cop comes to the window. What if the cop said to us, great job not running that red light. Good job. Keep it up. Have a great day.
I love how you used your turn signal.
Yeah. I loved how you just kept your speed just hovering right under 50 and a 50. That was beautiful work. So that's really not going to happen. But what if it did? Wouldn't the world be a better place? I don't know. I don't know.
Well, our heart rate wouldn't spike when we saw the lights.
But it would never happen. It would never happen because it's all built on a way more negative framework. So, and I'm not trying to come down hard on cops. I love Angie's brothers
Shout out.
very much, and I am not an anti-law enforcement person. But anyway, that's a great example of what if we used a little bit more positive reinforcement.
Yeah, these principles are just wonderful to use daily. We always say more is more. And as we get these kind of principles ingrained in our everyday and our way of thinking, and I do my best as a mom to use these principles with my children. And like you said, pointing out the positive and making an effort to not nag. But do I nag? Yeah, on the daily, if you ask my kids, because that's just kind of human nature.
Yes. You have to fight
Those
it.
negative behaviors catch our attention, and you have to really be mindful and thoughtful about how you use these in your way of life. But we have some examples to share with you in how these ABA principles have benefited and also undermined when used incorrectly in Alec's life. My big tagline that I always like to share, especially with new therapists that we're training to be on Alec's team, my basics of ABA, I've said this in previous podcasts, but it is literally the simplest way that I can explain ABA is if Alec's behavior is not what we want, Alec doesn't get what he wants. And again, I apply that to my 1.5-year-old. When Luke is not behaving in a way that I want, then he's not going to get the treat or, the sucker or the toy that he's whining for. One poignant point in Alec's development as he was being trained out of state. I had gone in and my time was running short. I had to leave to get to the airport in a timely manner. And we had been working, his behavior was in a really rough spot. We had been working on modeling, and I was giving examples, and we had talked through all the different steps to correct this behavior, running these correction procedures throughout the day. And so I had turned it over to this therapist at the time and was pretty certain my expectations were clear. And it was really difficult for me to leave when I needed to, when I had to. I did not want to leave this undone as Alec is being a goof and in the middle of this correction procedure. But I had to go. I left. About 30, 45 seconds down the road, I realized that I had left something at this location that they were at. So I turned around, parked the car, ran back in, and I looked over as it was nice and quiet in the room and saw Alex sitting on a couch with his iPad and headphones, which at the time was his highest reinforcer. And there was no way on the planet that he would have completed this correction procedure as this therapist was instructed to do so. And again, with time being such a bummer, I just got eyes with her and I said, "He didn't finish that, did he?" And she said, "Nope, he didn't." And I said, "We'll be talking." And
you're busted.
Yeah, you got caught, lady. But all of my effort in modeling and doing all of this, it is a aha, hello, there's no wonder his behavior was so out of control.
Yeah.
Because his negative behavior is reinforced by, "Hey, man, whatever, dude. Here's the iPad. Just hush it up and sit over here in the corner," which is
sit in the corner.
absolutely against anything that we want.
I want to get on my phone.
Yeah. So that was really disappointing, but a really good example of how ABA principles can shape those behaviors from one extreme to the next.
Yeah.
So what's another one you've seen, Christy?
Okay, well, we've used with spontaneous tapping. That's when he's going to use he taps letters out on a keyboard to be able to communicate. So whenever we want to increase his spontaneous tapping, that's where he's going and grabbing his letterboard himself, and he's coming to us, which is all a huge skill that he's learned. We're targeting that. We can use a cookie cut into small pieces because, I mean, of course, we've done the preference assessment before and made sure that cookies are a reinforcement for him for that particular day and time. And then we cut it into small pieces. And as Alec approaches with his tap board, we give him a little piece of a cookie. So that is reinforcing that behavior that we want to increase.
Yeah.
So, and then we're just praising when things go right. Always just praise when things go right, just like the example of the policeman. And that is really, really hard to get used to. I will just tell you that. I'm working with the grandchildren, having them visit right now. And just, I was thinking, oh, how can I have them stop kind of infighting so much? And I find myself all day long saying, "Stop that. Yes, please." And then I realized, oh, I'm being a horrible behavior analyst here. So what can I do? I got a little behavioral program where I got a little jar. I got a little bag of beans for like $1 at the store. And I got also a thing of black beans, which are just a little bit pricier, maybe $1.50. And they can earn either a pinto bean or a black bean is a special one that they can earn, and it's worth 5 pinto beans. So whenever I find them behaving really well, I say, "Oh, go grab a pinto bean and put it in your jar." And once they get so many pinto beans or so many black beans, then they get to go get a little surprise. And it literally can be the tiniest thing. It can be a little candy at the gas station. It doesn't, you're not doing it to be able to get these big, a trip to the toy store or anything like that. It's just, and they're loving it. They're just like, oh, did you hear me being sweet to my sister? I just offered to help her. I said thank you to the clerk at the So Delicious or whatever. And I'm like, okay, yeah, you'll get a bean when you get home. That sounds great. But keeping the praise going it is hard to get used to, but it's once you do it and once you kind of get in the habit of it, it becomes much easier.
Yeah, for sure. Um, Alec has benefited in so many ways. It has opened his world. And because of this foundation and the skills taught, as we've used the principles of ABA, he's such a contributing member of society.
Right.
Behavior is managed to the extent that he can go just about anywhere in the community. And here's just a small list of things that we've been able to see him do. He can wait.
Yes.
He can transition to and from locations without problems. We can go rogue if we've, explained, hey, we're going to go do this. If I've got to just pop into one more store real quick, that doesn't throw him for a loop.
No.
He has very few, if any, meltdowns. Potty training has been pretty stable, although we've had blips, but it's on the up and up more than not.
Yes.
He has skills that have transferred to his daily life as well as into employment opportunities. Routines are well established, but not overly running his life. He's communicative. He's got expanded leisure and things like desensitization to be able to wear a helmet for horse riding or sit and get a haircut, to be open to food expansion and trying new things, as well as physical touch, and things that used to be difficult for him are now just easy breezy. Like we literally don't think about some of those things ever having been difficult for him in the past because he manages it so well. It's just the new way of Al living his best life.
Yeah.
So it's definitely blessed his life. It's been able to give us a real sense of peace and happiness, seeing him thrive. And although we know that it's hard to run and really embed a lot of these principles in the day-to-day, as like Christy's example with the grandkids, it's not easy to do. We're not saying that it's
it takes thought. It takes thought and planning.
Yeah, for sure. So it's can be wearing at times to try and run programming from sun up to sundown. Some is better than none.
And I'm seeing a lot. I'm seeing a lot of people ask on forums, "Oh, do I really need to do 40 hours a week?" And I will tell you, from the time Alec was 2.5 until now, people are appalled. Some people will say, oh, heavens, no, your child does not need 40 hours a week. And this is where I want to say ABA is a way of life. It's you incorporate it and you weave it into your life. It's not a thing where you sit at a table and you only do it for that set time that you're sitting at the table. It is all encompassing. And it is not that you're slave driving your child. Did we start out with 40 hours a week at 2.5? Yes, we did. Would I do it again? Absolutely. I would have done 60 if I could.
Yeah.
But you can't. I mean, it's very expensive. You've got to manage the people. It's what will your insurance pay for? What will your government waiver pay for? What will your private funds fund? So I just want to tell you, as a mom of a child who is now 27 years old and who started ABA programming at 2.5, as well as occupational therapy he's had for some of those years, but mostly not all of them, and speech therapy, which she did for about a third of that time. If I could just do one thing, I would do the applied behavior analysis. I would do it over again and over again. Anyone who asks me and they say, oh my goodness, why can your child sit here and be in a doctor's appointment? His doctor recently was just so shocked. He said, are you sure he has severe autism? And as he's gotten to know him, he knows that he does. But he said, this is amazing. I don't think I've ever seen someone with his severity level behave this way. This is incredible. And we get comments like that a lot. And it's so gratifying to me now because I didn't know when I was starting out, when he was 2.5, that we would get this result. But part of the reason that I wanted to do this podcast and put it out there to people is to say, okay, guys, I'm on the other end of it. We're at 27 years old, and my son can have a really full life. He's very happy. He's very accomplished, and he feels good about himself. And that wasn't always the case. We built up to this. So please at least look into it and see what you can do. And if you can't do 40 hours a week, do whatever you can do. It's like, just do whatever you can do. And you'll be better off because of it. And if you are being an advocate for your school and your child in the school setting, push for ABA. I would encourage you to do that. ABA is data driven. You're going to have the data there to support that it's working or not. So you're going to know. And if you're doing it correctly, it will work. It's a scientifically proven method. And using it as a way of life and thinking can support desired behaviors for all individuals, either if they're on the spectrum or they're not on the spectrum.
Yeah.
So go out and look up what you can do, and please DM us or however you want to contact us. We're on Instagram and Facebook, and let us know if we can answer any questions regarding ABA and the use of it and how we've used it for my son.
Yeah, we would love to hear from you. Thanks so much for joining us today on Piece by Piece. If you would, please help spread the word and let others know what we're up to. If you've got a story, a question, or an idea, slide into our DMs to shoot us a message. You can find us on Instagram and Facebook at Piece by Piece Autism Podcast. That's PIECE, Piece by Piece Autism Podcast. We'll talk to you next time. Bye.
Bye.